spot we have American Gothic. This is a painting that was made in 1930 by Grant Wood. This painting is so famous for making literally the entire world uneasy and a lot of people triggered. It has this eerie feeling to it, which could be the colors, could be the atmosphere, or could be the fact that the woman is filled with annoyance and dislike for what can be assumed to be her husband. The man looks like maybe he's taking a stubborn stance on something that they were just talking about, but when you really look at his eyes, it looks like he might be a little unsure as to whether he should have actually said or did what he just did. That's my perspective. In any case, this is a painting that is feared by many, and I honestly think if you stare at it long enough, it may curse you to have a very unhappy relationship like these two. But chances are, if you are triggered, you might already be in one. Ah, the signs of the universe. In our number 9 spot, we have The Scream. The Scream is a painting that was made by a Norwegian artist by the name of Edvard Munch in 1893. It is clear by taking one look at this painting that Edvard could have possibly dealt with anxiety. The face in the painting looks completely anguished, and it looks as if the person behind the face is either having a panic attack or they could be shocked by something. But whatever it is, this painting, and specifically this face, has become a symbol for humanity's anguish and anxiety. A lot of people feel spooked when looking at this painting, but ultimately we all know how it feels to be anxious, and it's not a nice feeling. So of course, looking at a picture that conveys this would make anyone feel uncomfortable. In our number 8 spot, we have The Hands Resist Him. Yep, this is probably one of the most terrifying paintings I have ever seen. First off, anytime I see porcelain dolls, I get very uncomfortable, and that girl looks like a porcelain doll. I mean, she also has no eyes, and it looks like she's threatening the boy, so that's terrifying as well. This painting was made by Bill Stoneham in 1972, and even though it is so dark, apparently the artist had gone on record to say that he had no bad intentions with this painting. Yeah, none that he was aware of. You've literally painted a painting of a boy that looks like he might eat the soul of the person he's looking at, if the girl doesn't eat his soul first. And then you proceed to tell the world, nah, I had no bad intentions at all. Ah, humans, you make me laugh. Also, the painting apparently gained a reputation on eBay for being cursed, so I bet you it actually is. Apparently the characters are said to move at night. As much as I should be scared by this, this actually sounds like something I want to see. In our number 7 spot, we have The Dead Mother. This is another painting by Edvard Munch that was painted in 1899. I wish he was still alive so that I could give him a hug, because man, does this man seem like he needs a hug. This is yet another dark painting by him. As you can tell by the title, it portrays a mom lying in her bed while the people around her are mourning her, and the girl in front of her has a face of shock, sadness, and anxiety. The adults don't seem to be acknowledging the anxiety-ridden girl, and I think that is what feels the most unsettling in this painting. Knowing that this girl will now forevermore go through life without her mom and will seemingly have to deal with the grief alone. That definitely hits a trigger point for me. This painting is definitely haunted with the energy of sadness. In our number 6 spot, we have Evil Clown Painting. Well, I think the name says it all. This painting is definitely evil. Honestly, clowns in general are probably just evil, so I try to stay away from them in general, but this one in particular gives me the goosebumps. The painting was done by Daniel W. Green. After doing a little Googling, I found out that A, Daniel is still alive, and B, not all of his stuff is spooky like this, so I have hope that perhaps he made this painting out of getting into the Halloween spirit, if you will. But still, the energy of this painting is pretty chilling, and I wouldn't advise looking at it for too long. Or if you must, then look at a picture of a cute dog afterwards to shake off the low vibes. In our number 5 spot, we have The Triumph of Death. The Triumph of Death is a painting created by Peter Bruegel the Elder back in 1562. This is a painting that is believed to be haunted as it depicts mass death and war and truly just an energy of overwhelming sadness. Skeletons pull a wagon of heads while the wagon is running over people. People lay in piles on top of each other. Mountains burn in the distance, symbolizing a new world coming and mass destruction. So yeah, this painting is pretty haunting to look at. I'd much rather look at a painting of people dancing and smiling and eating delicious food. But that's just me. In our number 4 spot, we have Dante and Virgil in Hell. Dante and Virgil in Hell is a painting done by William Adolphe Bouguereau in 1850. This painting is completely chilling as there are clearly vampires and demons being depicted. The only thing positive about this painting is the guy on the right's leg and butt. Super fit, good looking guy it seems. So sad that he will die. The people in this painting are painted way too lifelike, which I think makes the painting more uncomfortable to look at. But honestly, the worst part for me would have to be the Wizard of Oz type bat demons flying around. And then the one with the scary eyes on the ground. Don't look at them for too long or they may curse you. In our number 3 spot, we have The Anguished Man. The Anguished Man is actually painted by an unknown artist. A man named Sean Robinson claimed that he inherited the painting from his grandmother, and apparently his grandmother told him that the artist of the painting mixed his own blood into the paint and died by taking his own life after finishing the painting. People believe this painting to be haunted as Sean has claimed that he has heard crying and moaning noises in his house, and also that he once saw the figure of a man that he believes is the same as the person in the painting. Some things don't need to be an inheritance. Maybe just donate that one, Sean. Unless of course you enjoy the sounds of someone crying in your house, in which case my response to that is perhaps you need therapy. I've done it for many years, would recommend. In our number 2 spot, we have Portrait of Samantha Houston. Okay, maybe this isn't a popular opinion, but this picture doesn't scare me. People say that the ghost of the kid in this painting, who we can assume to be Samantha, haunts a hotel that this painting is in. But I don't know, this looks like a Casper the Friendly Ghost kind of situation to me. Apparently Samantha, 4 years old, went to the Driscoll Hotel in Austin with her father in 1887 when she fell down the stairs and passed away. Since then, they have said that she haunts the hotel as well as this painting of her. But honestly, to claim to have a haunted hotel really just sounds like a marketing campaign to me. But it does seem that the guests have claimed to feel nauseous when viewing this painting, as well as a feeling of falling. That's terrifying. So that's pretty interesting. Hopefully that's all the trickery this ghost plays. She's way too cute to be a mean ghost. In our number 1 spot, we have the Stagecraft of the Hanging Man. This is an oil painting that is an adaptation of an eerie photograph where there is a wooden cart. And it wasn't until after the photograph was developed that there appeared to be a headless man also in the shot. The artist of the painting version, who goes by the name of Laura P., was drawn to this photograph and felt as if she was called to paint it. But perhaps that was not a positive hunch, as so many strange things have happened since painting it. She said that the painting has been responsible for a mysterious leak, items that are broken and knocked over, and ever so often she hears knocks on her door. Perhaps this painting is an entrance to another world, and the ghosts are politely knocking, asking if they can come in and go into the painting. I don't know. Apparently she has considered selling the painting, but she does fear what might happen if she does. But honestly, she should just make the buyer sign a contract to take full responsibility, and something that says, that it is not Laura's fault if they are haunted. You know how people say, be careful what you wish for? Honestly, be careful what you put out into the world energy-wise, and be careful what you paint. In our number 10 spot, we have The Last Supper. Okay, so this one I think a lot of you might have expected to be on my list, as it is known from the book The Da Vinci Code by author Dan Brown, and he pointed out an incredible secret that to this day people are still pondering about. Is Mary Magdalene sitting beside Jesus in the Last Supper painting, or is that John the Apostle? And if it is not John the Apostle, then why was he painted so feminine, whereas everyone else is clearly a man in that painting? Some say Da Vinci painted him feminine because other painters before him did. This will continue to be of much speculation, but another secret that has actually been found within this painting was found by Italian computer technician Giovanni Paula, and he claims that inside the painting there are musical notes, and if played from left to right, they create a 40-second hymn that sounds like a requiem. In our number 9 spot, we have the young woman powdering herself. This is a painting done by George Seurat between 1889 to 1890. This looks like an innocent painting of a woman just, putting on her foundation for the day, maybe doing a little 1800s equivalent to contouring and finishing it off with a nice red lip. Anyways, there's a lot more going on with this painting than you may think. Recent x-rays have revealed that the flower in the top corner of the painting was actually once a self-portrait of George. Apparently he covered it up because he was told that it was bizarre. Apparently it's even more notable because the woman in this painting was his mistress. So it would make sense that she would have a portrait of him hanging in her room. Ooh, secrets and lies. I doubt the ugliness of your portrait was the only reason you covered it up, George. Probably because the missus didn't know about your mistress. Naughty. In our number 8 spot, we have Supper at Emos. This is a painting that was made by Caravaggio in 1601. This painting is depicting Jesus with, we can assume to be his disciples, and they are sitting at a table with tons of food and fruit. At first glance you might not see it, but if you look at the shadow of the fruit basket, you will see that the shadow is in the shape of a fish. People believe that this is a little purposeful Easter egg done by the painter, and that the fish is alluding to the story of Jesus feeding the masses with fish. Honestly, that makes sense, but he could have just put fish on the table. That doesn't need to be a secret in a shadow, but perhaps for fun, I guess I can see the appeal. In our number 7 spot, we have David and Goliath. This is the David and Goliath painting that is in the Sistine Chapel that shows David defeating Goliath the giant. This painting was of course painted by none other than Michelangelo in 1509. This painting is already pretty spectacular, but apparently there's also a little hidden symbol within the painting. The way that David is standing over Goliath, his stance, is perfectly in the shape of the Hebrew letter Gimel. The letter is supposed to represent reward and punishment, which of course works perfectly with what happens in this story. In our number 6 spot, we have the Topsy-Turvy World. This is an oil painting that is also known as the Blue Clock by Peter Bruegel the Elder, done in 1559. This painting is so chaotic. It's hard to know what to focus on because there's so much happening, and apparently it's on purpose. Within this painting are 112 proverbs acted out, which are basically small statements that express truth about human behavior based on common sense or experience. 2 that I could make out and thought were easy to see were swimming against the tide or banging one's head against a brick wall. 110 more to go. Could be here all night. Let me know if you see any in the comment section below. In our number 5 spot, we have Patch of Grass by Van Gogh. The 1887 painting Patch of Grass is one of many paintings, apparently, by Van Gogh, where another work of art has been found hidden behind the painting. In 2008, 2 scientists by the name of Joris Dick and Quan Janssens discovered an X-ray technique that helped them reveal a portrait of a peasant woman buried under the blades of the grass. The woman looks quite sad, so maybe that's why he decided to cover her up. Although apparently Van Gogh was known for reusing his paper due to not having a lot of supplies and money, so they have found a lot of paintings within his paintings over the years. pretty awesome. In our number 4 spot, we have The Old Guitarist. This is a classic Pablo Picasso painting done in the early 1900s. It is known for its haunting vibe due to the way that the old man is hunched over playing his guitar just like this. Just lovely. He also is quite white and ghostly. In 1998, an infrared camera revealed that there is actually another painting layered underneath this painting that features a woman. Apparently, as this painting begins to fade, it has become easier to see the woman's face above the guitar player's neck. Honestly, the woman looks a lot more pleasant than this man. Perhaps that is why he is so ghostly and sad, because he is thinking of her. Perhaps she was always intended to be there. She is a ghost that is within him in the afterlife. Okay, who knows, but that would be pretty cool if true. In our number 3 spot, we have the creation of Adam. This one is more cool than bizarre, I think, but you can decide. This is the beautiful creation of Adam painting done by none other than Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. This is yet another painting where he had a hidden illustration within the painting, and personally, I think it is so cool. In this painting, you see God reaching for Adam to give him life. We all know the story. But if you look at God and what is surrounding him, you'll actually see that it's an anatomical illustration of a human brain, which could show that Michelangelo intended to show that God gave Adam life, but also human knowledge. Whoa, mind blown, it makes sense. In our number 2 spot, we have Madonna with Saint Giovannino. This is a painting made by Domenico Ghirlandaio around 1448-1494. This is a painting that has not actually become quite popular over the years because of its intended purpose. It's become popular because of the flying object that appears to be in the top right of the painting behind Madonna. Some believe it to be the first depiction of a UFO, which could indicate a sighting had occurred in the 15th century and quite possibly by the artist. Also, there weren't planes in this time, and this is certainly not a bird in the sky, as there is no clear indication of wings. So does that mean that it was meant to depict something that wasn't of its time, like a UFO? I think yes. Let us know in the comment section below. In our number 1 spot, we have Head of a Peasant Woman by Van Gogh. I had to put this painting in our number 1 spot as this was only just discovered, and the world is so very excited to have discovered yet another Van Gogh masterpiece. If you don't know Van Gogh, well, he is one of the most popular artists of the 20th century, so just take a moment and do some Googling. Anyways, a hidden prize was recently discovered behind his piece, The Head of a Peasant Woman, by the conservators at the National Gallery of Scotland. After x-raying the piece and not expecting much, they discovered that beyond the cardboard was not the peasant woman, but actually a self-portrait of Van Gogh. He was known to have done self-portraits, but to discover this, it must have been magical. The portrait is behind many layers of glue and cardboard, and suspected to have been done this way to help protect the artwork for an upcoming exhibition in the early 20th century. How fascinating. I can't even imagine what that must have felt like to discover that. I bet you people around the world are now going to start x-raying all of the Van Goghs in the hopes of finding a hidden treasure. Starting off this countdown, we have Miss Bell. For weeks, a man named Alan Smith was haunted by a pale figure of a woman in his mansion. Apparently, this woman would lurk around the hallways and in the bedrooms around 1 o'clock in the morning. She could be seen surrounded by a blue haze and just drifted around the house. Then one day, he found a painting in his house and realized that the woman in the painting was the woman who was haunting him. After doing research, he discovered that the ghost was of a woman named Miss Bell. She used to live in the mansion, but apparently she went bankrupt and lost all of her possessions. Well, Alan ended up hanging the painting in his home, and ever since then, the haunting stopped. Miss Bell seemed to be at peace. But it's said that no one else can own the painting except the mansion's owner. If the painting ever leaves the premise, Miss Bell will arise again and haunt those until her painting is returned to its proper location. Moving on to number 9, we have The Dead Mother. You may not have heard of this painting by Edvard Munch, but chances are you have seen his famous piece of artwork. Now, this painting is quite
dark. It depicts a dead mother laying on her bed while her child stands there covering her ears. This painting is said to represent the devastation that Scandinavia faced due to tuberculosis. Just when you thought the painting couldn't get any worse, it said that the eyes of the child in the painting will follow you. Others say that they have heard the rustle of the bed sheets from the photo and have heard the mother cough. Others claim that they have seen the mother change positions, or that they've seen the child move, blink, or even disappear from the painting entirely. The painting is for sure cursed. What else can explain this? Coming in at number 8, we have the Rokeby Venus. The Rokeby Venus, otherwise known as Venus at her mirror or the Toilet of Venus, is a beautiful painting created in 1658. The painting features a half-naked woman, Venus, staring at herself in a mirror that Cupid is holding. This is actually a lovely painting, but it's said to bring sickness and death to whoever owns it. One woman died mysteriously while the painting was in her family's possession. Other owners were murdered. As a result, no museum or hotel or other place ever wants to own it. Then in 1914, a British female rights activist sliced the painting with a butcher's knife. She did this because she was disgusted by how men were staring at her body all day long. So she took a meat cleaver and sliced it. But rumor has it that the canvas barely got a scratch. Only if you look very close at the painting can you see the slash marks. It's thought that the painting is so strong that not even a physical object can stop it. Moving on to number 7, we have the Witch Girl. Now, I couldn't find much information on this painting. It features a picture of a girl crying, but I don't know who painted it or even the year it was created. All that's said about it is that it's a painting of a witch child and apparently it's very haunted. So it said that the painting once belonged to a Spanish man who felt like the girl's eyes in the painting would follow him. He also said that at night a gray silhouette would appear right by the canvas. In fact, many people are convinced that the spectre is Madame Delphine Lalaurie herself. Lalaurie was known for torturing her slaves in very, very gruesome ways. But now my question is, why is she haunting this painting? And is it really her? In our 6th spot, we have the Stagecoach painting. So this painting has a very dark and twisted backstory, so no wonder it's cursed. So in 1994, a photographer named James Kidd took a bunch of photos of stagecoaches in Tombstone, Arizona. However, upon developing the photos, he realized that there was a ghost of a headless man standing on a log beside the stagecoach. And then a painter thought it would be a good idea to recreate this photo as an oil painting. And as a result, that ghost attached itself to the painting. Seriously, what did she expect? So when the painting was complete, it was hung out of business. But a couple of days later, the business demanded that she take it back. Apparently, the painting was found crooked every morning, despite them constantly correcting it. They also blamed the painting for paperwork going missing and appointments getting messed up. The painting was just bringing them immense bad luck. Then when she brought it back home, she started experiencing bad luck herself. Her garage roof started leaking, but roofers couldn't find the source of the leak. And when the painting was moved, the leak stopped. On top of that, things would break on their own and she would hear weird ghostly noises. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Bernardo de Galvez. This painting is said to be one of the most haunted paintings in the world. So the painting is a portrait of Bernardo de Galvez, a very powerful Spanish military leader. In the early 1900s, the city of Galveston opened a hotel named after him, and in the hotel they hung this massive portrait of him. But it seems as if Bernardo has attached himself to his portrait. A lot of guests have seen his ghost wandering the halls by his portrait. Others complained about feeling very unsettled while passing by the painting. In fact, a lot of people have reported feeling cold and uneasy when standing close to the portrait. Also, on a number of occasions, if you try to take a photo of the portrait, it will end up coming out blurry or completely dark. So the hotel truly believes believes that the painting is cursed by Bernardo himself. In our 4th spot, we have Maria Lopukina. This is a portrait of Maria Lopukina, a young Russian woman who sadly died of tuberculosis. The painting was made in 1797, a few years before her passing, and now it's said that her restless soul haunts the painting. In fact, it's so cursed that bad luck will fall on whoever looks directly at the painting. It was said that the painting contains some kind of power that can cause healthy young girls to die randomly. In fact, this has happened so often that people are convinced that the portrait actually steals the souls of the girls and traps them inside the painting. In our 3rd spot, we have the Suicide Girl. Looking at this painting, you wouldn't think there'd be anything to be afraid of. Just wait. So story goes that a girl committed suicide shortly after creating this image. She drew the picture, scanned it, posted it online, and then she took her own life. Now, legend goes that if you stare into the girl's eyes for too long, then she will get you to take your own life as well. Some that have stared at it for a while have claimed that the portrait turns evil. The girl gets an evil smirk on her face and dark circles appear under her eyes. In our 2nd spot, we have Man Proposes, God Disposes. Painted in 1864 by Edwin Henry Landseer, this painting was inspired by Sir John Franklin's expedition in 1845, when they disappeared without a trace. This painting is how Edwin imagined their fate would be, but little did he know that he created an extremely cursed painting. So this painting is hung up in the exam hall at Royal Holloway University of London. Rumor has it that in the 1970s, a student committed suicide after staring at the painting. All he left behind was a note that read, "The polar bears made me do it." Other students have said that they felt uneasy while sitting next to it. As a result, students purposely go out of their way to avoid this painting, and the university has to cover it up while students are taking tests. And in our number 1 spot, we have the Anguished Man. This has to be by far the most haunted painting in the world. So story goes that a man named Sean Robinson inherited the painting from his grandmother. The artist of the painting still remains unknown, but it's said that he mixed his own blood with the paint. They ended up killing themselves shortly after finishing the painting. Sean's grandmother was convinced that this painting was haunted. She would hear screaming or crying coming from the painting, and she would often see a shadowy figure by it. As a result, she kept it locked away in her attic. They believed that it was haunted by the ghost of the artist. When Sean inherited the painting, bad things started to happen to him and his family. His son was pushed down the stairs by the ghost, his wife felt someone stroking her hair, and a shadow would lurk through the halls. To this day, Sean keeps the painting locked up in a secure location. It said, "It's far too dangerous for anyone to own." Starting off this countdown, we have the Stagecoach painting. So this painting has a very dark and twisted backstory, so no wonder it's cursed. So in 1994, a photographer named James Kidd took a bunch of photos of stagecoaches in Tombstone, Arizona. However, upon developing the photos, he realized he captured a ghost of a headless man. And then a painter thought it would be a good idea to recreate this photo as an oil painting. So she painted this headless ghost man, and the ghost attached itself to the painting. Like seriously, what did she expect? So when the painting was complete, it was hung at a business. But a couple of days later, the business demanded that she take it back. Apparently, the painting was found crooked every morning, despite them constantly fixing it. They also blamed the painting for paperwork going missing and appointments getting messed up. The painting was just bringing them bad luck. So the painter brought it back to her home, and she started experiencing bad luck. Her garage roof started leaking, but roofers couldn't find the source of the leak. And when the painting was moved, the leak stopped. That's what you get for painting a photo of a ghost.
Wow, what a creepy painting. Let's move on to number 9 with the Pyramid of Skulls. Before I go any further, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up because it really helps us out. So the Pyramid of Skulls is just as it sounds. It's a painting of a bunch of skulls on top of each other. It was completed by painter Paul Cézanne. Now here's where it gets creepy. As Paul started getting older, he became fascinated by death. So from 1898 up until his death, all he would paint are these creepy paintings filled with skulls. This particular piece apparently emphasizes the fact that you need to confront death and reflect on it. Not only that, but his genre of painting is called memento mori, which translates into remember that you have to die. So if that isn't creepy, then I don't know what is.
Moving on to number 8, we have the Raft of Medusa. The Raft of Medusa was created by Theodore Géricault back in 1819. The painting depicts the real-life shipwreck of the French naval frigate Méduse. On July 5th, 1816, 147 men set sail on this raft. Only 15 managed to survive. But those that did survive turned to cannibalism after being severely starved. Just knowing that backstory makes the painting way darker than it already is. Back to you, Brie.
Alright, and at number 7, we have the Japanese girl drawing. This is another painting with a very dark backstory. So legend goes that a Japanese student was found dead in her room. This was the last image that she had drawn before taking her own life. In fact, she scanned this image and posted it online for everyone to see. But legend goes if you stare into this girl's eyes too long, then she will get you to take your own life as well. Some who have stared at it for a while have claimed that the portrait turns evil. The girl gets an evil-looking smirk on her face and dark circles appear under her eyes. If that's what evil looks like, then I guess I'm evil, because I look like that in the morning.
Making our way down the list, at number 6, we have the Mona Lisa. Now I know what you're thinking. Lindsay, how is this painting scary? Well, it's not. But its backstory certainly is. So there's this famous urban legend surrounding the Mona Lisa. Apparently, a French artist took his life because he was driven mad by the mystery of the Mona Lisa's smile. French artist's name was Luc Mapereau. On June 23rd, 1852, he threw himself from the 4th floor of his Paris hotel. Later, a note was found in his room that read, and I quote, "For years, I have grappled desperately with Mona Lisa's smile. I prefer to die." Sadly, that's all we know about this case and Luke. It was featured in a 1999 Smithsonian article and in a book from 1966. It's a pretty creepy case, and now I will never be able to look at the Mona Lisa the same.
Coming in at number 5, we have the Weeping Children. The Weeping Children are a collection of paintings created by a man named Giovanni Bragolin. Every painting features a little boy or girl crying. Now it's said whoever owns these paintings will face tragedy. So in this case, all of Giovanni's paintings are cursed. In fact, a string of house fires were all thought to have been caused by this painting. All of the houses that caught on fire were completely destroyed except for the paintings that remained perfectly undamaged. Take the case of Roy and May Hall. This couple owned one of these paintings. Their house unexpectedly caught fire and they almost lost everything, except for the painting of a crying boy that wasn't even blackened by smoke.
Yeah, I've heard of those paintings before. It's super freaking creepy. Okay, and at number 4, we have Zdzisław Bukowski. Look, I know I said his name wrong. Okay, I know I butchered it. Just move on from it. Now, this dude has created a number of creepy looking paintings, but the scariest one is this one right here. It features this weird creature crawling with a bloody wrap on its head. Honestly, it really creeps me out. To make matters worse, apparently this painting is cursed, and if you see it 3 different times, then you'll die. Yeah, so we all just saw the image once, 2 more times, and bye-bye. Okay, I mean, there's no proof that this legend is real, but still, I never want to see that painting in my life ever again.
I agree, I never want to see that painting again. Okay, moving on to number 3, we have the collage of art balls. Here is another painting that can kill. So this painting is associated with a Japanese urban legend. Legend goes that if you look at this painting 5 times, then you will die. A little death note, but whatever. I mean, hey, at least it's 5 times and not 3 like the other painting Lindsay mentioned. Besides that, not a lot of people know much about this painting. It was painted in 2010, but we don't know by whom. And we don't know why it's cursed either. I mean, it's just a painting of a ball.
And at number 2, we have Watson and the Shark. This painting is a depiction of a real-life tragedy. It was created by John Singleton Copley in 1778. Basically, back in 1749 in Havana, Cuba, a visitor on the royal consort was the victim of a brutal shark attack. He lost his leg in the attack and was badly injured, but thankfully, he was rescued. This painting depicts just that, which is very dark.
And finally, in at number 1, we have Man Proposes, God Disposes. This painting was created by Edwin Landseer in 1864. It depicts Sir John Franklin's ill-fated expedition in 1845. This painting is how Edwin imagined their fate would be. but little did he know that he created an extremely cursed painting. So this painting is hung up in the exam hall at the Royal Holloway University of London. Rumor has it that in the 1970s, a student took his own life after staring at the painting while taking his exam. All he left behind was a note on his exam paper that read, "The polar bears made me do it."